lovely day for a walk in the rain.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's just sing
do
some
barbershop.
rain songs so it get.
Okay, we have something for the outtakes. I think we're recording now, so
Cool.
let's do this. Hello, everybody. We are the SequencerTalk live from Superbooth 2023, and we have Paul with us and the lovely Mugulator. My name is Dean Freud, and we are in the burning bright sun here in the middle of nowhere in Berlin, and talking about
It's lovely, though. It is lovely, isn't it? We're all really relaxed and not burnt too much, maybe a little. So, yeah, I have a new synthesizer.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it looks a bit like a bigger version of the Malevolent, but it isn't.
That's right.
It's completely different.
We have...
And it's called Mantis.
Indeed, Mantis.
Yeah.
PWM Mantis.
Yeah.
We kept the styling the same so that it looks like part of the family. But actually, it's completely different internals, completely different people working on it. So the first product, the Malevolent, was analog. This is a hybrid synth that I partnered with the late Chris Huggett to make. And Chris Huggett, if you
Chris
don't know,
Huggett is well known for the OSCar and the Wasp and even the samplers from Akai, the first ones,
absolutely.
and Innovation stuff.
That's right. So I used to work with Chris at Innovation. That's how I got to know him. And we became good friends. No. I'm having some sunshine.
our good radio making.
I've been in a tent all day, so I'm having some sun. And so we did a bunch of stuff. I started the company. We were working on Malevolent. And then sometime later, I thought, I wonder if Chris might like to do something. So I went to his house and sat in his dining room and said, what do you think, Chris? Do you think there's something? And he said, well, I've been had something in mind. I wondered about making something based on the Wasp, that kind of idea. How about, duophonic? And we do two of them. And maybe then we can have two signal paths and have two filters and use those together like I did on the OSCar. And so that's how it began. And sadly, he passed away. But for the last year of his life, I would ring him up every Friday and we'd have our regular call and we'd get together and we'd work on it and design it and move controls around and decide what we wanted here and there and the functions and so on. And after he...
It's no longer it's not semi-modular, but it's a classic synth.
It's a classic,
yeah.
It's it's a hybrid because that's very much Chris's thing.
Yeah.
He would create the oscillators in the digital domain, but that would be kind of and he uses maths to do it. So he's like
yeah, on the OSCar. Maybe not everyone knows it. The digital oscillators are well known.
Yes.
And he kept thinking that way on the Innovation Summit.
That's right.
And of course the Peak, which is the predecessor of it. And so this is why you? Why? Of course, we know that Chris has passed away.
Yeah.
So you did it beforehand, right? Before, so you talk to each other, and what's the story?
He was a bit like me insofar as we had a career working for other people, and we wanted to do something for ourselves. That was basically it. I left Innovation at the right time and started this.
Yeah.
And the thing about Paul Whittington Group, which is the official company name, and the brand PWM is I like to work in partnership with people. And so that was what I was offering to Chris. We have the manufacture side and we have the distribution side. And it was an opportunity for Chris to be able to put out his own synth into the world and not me employing him, but us working together. And then the simple rule is we make a thing, we hope people like it, we sell it, we deduct the costs, and we then share in the benefits of it. That's and we might do that independently of Novation, although he's grateful for all the work and stuff they did.
Yeah, it's a completely different approach to do something like this.
Yeah.
Because normally you get hired and then you get paid, and that's it.
That's right, and that was his arrangement with Novation.
Please?
Yeah.
Let's first talk about how it sounds, how it reacts. What kind of synth is it, or what kind of basic sound is it like? For everyone because it's the first time.
Yeah.
The synth appearing, it's like a Mantis.
Yeah.
So it just have some one or two words.
I mean,
about that.
Of course, it's best to come to booth Z400 to hear it for yourself. However, it is very much as Chris intended, a Wasp, but brought up to date. So it's that kind of sound, but analog signal path. So Chris chose a particular bits of silicon, which is custom designed for doing musical applications. It's actually SSI, sound semiconductor. You know them. So, and he uses multiple gain stages on that to create the filter. So it's very much his design and how he's done it. And so it does have, you can hear the kind of OSCar note in the filter if you do the width thing and you move the peaks in and out, which you can modulate as well. And I don't think there's anything else that quite has that other than the original OSCar. So that's quite unique. And as for the sound of the oscillators themselves and through the signal chain, they are very much that sort of Chris style, but very heavy on the analog. So when you overdrive it, it's really more towards the malevolence, not quite the malevolent style, but other synths like the Peak would sound a bit more digital, really. This thing sounds a bit more alive. It's fatter, it's bigger.
And it's still sort of nasty, but different kind of nasty.
Different nasty.
Yeah.
Do I only make nasty synth?
Yeah.
No.
So you're very into aggressive, gritty, and angry synth.
I was very quite pleased because you showed me this before the Superbooth started on Wednesday.
Yes, D was one of the first to see it ever, in fact. So it's kind of cool.
He showed me some things, and it has a really punch to it.
Yeah.
In a interesting way.
Sure.
And the filters do cry when you want and scream.
Yes, and it has the kind
really
of different harmonics as well. As you bring it down slowly, you get those lovely
if you run it at 12 dB per octave, it sounds different from the 24 one.
Yes.
Because the resonance is more. Let's don't say aggressive, but it's more self-resonant then.
Yes.
So it's really classic in that way.
Yes.
But it sounds unique. It's very OSCar.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. And that's the intention. Anything that I make or we make, PWM, I want to sound unique. I want and sound different even to the other synths that we make. Hence, I have the idea of making an analog, and this is the hybrid, and then a digital.
And it's British, it's totally British.
Totally British. Yeah. I want everybody to have the excuse or the need to buy all three. That's buy all my synths. And if you want this sound, this is where you have to get it. You won't get it out of a Moog, and you won't get it out of a Dave Smith, a DS, or whatever. It comes from this. It's that uniqueness.
What you do, you don't do the
normal things.
Normal things, yeah.
And abnormal.
Cool thing about your work and your collaborations.
Sure.
So the thing is, maybe some people doesn't know it. The Malevolent has a Cell key filter that's really burbly and aggressive and quite resonanty.
And greatly unprecise.
You can really go deep down in the basement of a dungeon of bass and
I call it the brown trouser department.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the Mantis is a reoccurring Mark II of the Wasp
Yeah, if you like.
with a Oscar paired. So
And it has some wasp
and it's
things
duophonic.
in it.
Yes.
This
Duo.
is one of the things. It's not just monophonic; it's duophonic.
And and not to be confused with paraphonic.
Yeah.
Which,
Exactly.
yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah,
This is
dude.
actually dual timbral kind of sound or layer kind
Not
of sound.
also. So
Yeah.
it's the same sound and it's
Yeah.
one-to-one controls. So there's no kind of adjusting the other. No, it makes the same sound, but it just plays two notes down two signal paths, proper signal paths.
So yeah,
Yeah.
to be exact, it is made for two notes at the same time.
Yes.
Not like the UDO stuff or something that is more for stereo stuff and binaural and
Oh, yeah.
stuff. It's just to make it clear.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
right, absolutely. And that Chris came up with this neat idea with the arpeggiator, where you can actually hold down a chord and arpeggiate that on the first voice, and then play along on the second voice over the top,
Yeah.
and use a button, set arpeggio button, to change the chord quickly, and then continue to play with the other. So there's a couple of unique things like that.
What I always
nice.
also saw is reminding of the Wasp is an envelope that can be looped.
Yes.
There's a repeat switch on both
right, yes.
envelopes. It's this time it's ADSR as you know it,
With an additional sustained fall,
yeah,
which is
before.
if nobody knows what that is,
Yeah,
you get the attack phase, the decay, and then while holding the key down, if you turn up the sustained fall, you can have a kind of curved drop in the sound, and then when you release, it continues the envelope and then goes into the release phase.
yeah. So it's
it's
not
like
the
a-
cork one,
No,
and it's not. It's more maybe more comparable to the Moog hold phase thing.
Okay.
That you can put it back and move this hold phase then.
and again, that's a pure Chris thing. That's what he wanted to put on there.
Yeah.
And that's so.
Okay.
I hope people will enjoy using that. I certainly do. It's good
And
fun.
there's velocity. There's a velocity adjustment on both.
There
So,
is.
Yeah.
That's just for convenience rather than going for extra mod routes, because actually the Mantis has a very simple way of setting up the modulation. You just pick one of 6 parameters, and then you go, I'd like it to be modulated by LFO, for example, another selection of 6, and then multiplied by maybe full on, so just a 1-to-1, or maybe you can use the joystick X or the joystick Y or the aftertouch. So again, it's just take this parameter, press a button, that's your mod route straight away.
So there's a kind of
Making
metric in it.
Yeah, it's a mini matrix, if you like.
Yeah.
That's why rather than calling it mod matrix, we called it mod routes, because there's just 6 of them, effectively. But that's not, but not forgetting that, like you say, there are velocity parameters sprinkled throughout, so they're already in the envelope.
So they have their own level.
There's a
and that
dedicated
controls
knob for that as
everything.
well.
Yeah.
So which saves you mapping things because they're already there. So
Dean MIDI. if you can.
Already did the joke with the MIDI channel.
Yeah, we've actually made it so it only works on MIDI channel 0 and it doesn't work on any other MIDI channels.
The one that I get, I know.
Actually, it's MIDI channel -1. We've put it on. No, it's full MIDI implementation. You can change it. And the key thing about this, totally different to Malevolent, of course. All the parameters and all the knobs will send MIDI. So you can record everything out, record everything back.
automation.
Yeah.
And it feels quite different because the potentiometers are looking the same,
Yes.
but they feel so much different than the other.
It's
And there is
higher
even
quality, higher price.
You showed me the the cutoff knob, and it has a little dent, so you can make out the middle.
Right,
And-
for the modulation parameters. So
Yeah.
the filter cutoff mod has a center because, again on this, which is not true on Malevolent. It's basically all positives.
So
This one you can have positive and negative.
You feel where the zero.
Yeah, and there's a little detent, so you feel
Yeah.
where the middle notch is for 0, and then there's a little bit of clever firmware that makes sure that notch is correct.
like the Roland Jupiter 6, where you
Right.
have this middle position
Okay.
where it's exactly
Yeah.
1 octave or 2.
And we even use
Yeah.
it, say, on the shape knob, which if you take the pulse wave, for example, just the pure waveform, then you'll get pulse either side. But when you lock it into the middle, then you get a precise square wave
Yeah,
in the middle.
okay.
So little things like that are nice conveniences to have.
Yeah, there's so much more to explore, but you already did it with effects. So you have
yeah.
we go on the completely end of the chain because you can pan it in stereo.
You can.
Have a reverb and a really cool chorus on it.
Yeah.
I'm not a big chorus fan, but I was quite impressed of this sound.
You know,
it sounds completely different.
It's one of those things. It's one of those things about Chris that he was so humble about his expertise. I think he's one of the best.
So he
one
did
of the
it.
best programmers of reverb and chorus I've ever heard. The reverb on it is astonishing, and it's just him. He just created that.
I checked that out yesterday, in quite short time.
Yeah.
It's really a completely different sound. It mixes, and sometimes it's just in front of you or just behind, and it mixes up completely another way.
Yeah.
Is there something behind it?
I can't tell you anything about it, and sadly, the great man is not here to ask.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, all we could do is we could analyze it to try and speak more intelligently about it. Like Ben could look into the firmware and kind of trying to describe to me what's happening. But the truth be told, that's Chris's special sauce, and that reverb in particular.
So it's the real heritage
really nice.
Of Chris.
Yeah,
the most recent one.
And again, I kind of don't want to know how he numerically generates the oscillators. I don't want to know, because again, that's his special thing. That's part of the special sound that
there's a thing, because he sadly passed away, and you had to find someone else to finish this whole project.
That's right.
So, and there's one of the biggest drawbacks to have a complete code that someone wrote.
Yes.
And you have to dig into this and get in the mind of the other developer.
Yes.
And every time I speak with other people, they have to work on other codes that they don't do themselves.
Programmers don't like to do that.
Horror.
That's a rule.
Horror.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine this took really quite some time, and
That's
I know your guy who does this.
That's Ben.
Ben already worked on Wednesday night for this code that you can show it here.
Yes.
Actually, you were soldering.
Yeah, okay.
I was
at start, which is really good.
Very kind. I had to go and borrow a soldering iron off some very kind people, and then actually move a link across to kind of set the scanning frequency internally to be something different, so that the code would run well for now.
But one really important question about because Chris has gone. Does that mean that there's no firmware update at all, or could you still do some adjustments?
No, it's so what we'll do is, what we are in the process of doing is taking exactly what he's left us and making it fit to run on the hardware that we have not redesigned, because a lot of it is exactly as Chris had it, but there's some things that we have to do in design for manufacture to make it efficient, or the component that's available, all the China shortages of components and so on. So that some changes. So the idea is get back to the point where Chris left it, and then Ben in that process will have modularized the code. So we'll then have a little bit more understanding, and we can go forward and develop a little bit more and make some changes and add in a few things that we're thinking of doing. Obviously, at the show, we're just talking about it as Chris left it, but there are a few things that we may be able to tweak either full release or as a future firmware update. So yeah, we can continue to develop from where we
So
pick
it
up.
won't end like
No.
some other products that
No, it
have been designed by someone. So it's
That's right.
that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, that's a really good question.
Yeah.
Chris was very good to hand that over and give me that instruction.
So it's a well-documented code.
Well, some of it, that's relative. Some of it is. You'll have to ask Ben. No, it's the good thing about Ben. I met Ben Supper through working at Focusrite as well. He went on. He had a career at Rowley for a bit, and then now he's working independently and with me. But we were at the same time on Mini Nova, so Ben has some familiarity with working with Chris's code. So we've got a little bit of a head start.
Look, maybe there is a recurring thing in my synth collection that is your work. What up? Let's speak about it's a very emotional thing, this synthesizer, because let's face it, he got this he got a thing that he's ill and he eventually doesn't make it, and you have to.
Yeah.
It's very different, I think, to do something like this, and then sitting there knowing there is maybe an end, and working on this thing. I watched your little video about this.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
And this morning, actually.
Right.
And I sat there and I thought, okay, I saw your face in the tent on Wednesday evening.
Yeah.
And your enthusiasm and your joy of the product, and you told me a little bit of it, but then I watched the video and there was a click, because you had to work on this with a thing in mind, that there is the end.
Yeah.
And this is for me, I can only imagine this is so much stress and so much heartbreak that's going on to make a product that's for everybody, but it's so close to relate it on the people that are behind.
Yeah. It was particularly tough towards the end, and then the hardest call I had with Chris was the last one, where he had to say to me, "I don't want you to call me again. That's finished now." And it was tough, because he was my friend, and I'm still in touch with his wife Melanie, and it's there we go. The only way I can sort of get over that really is make this thing and honor him, and bring it out.
There's even his signing on the synthesizer on the back of it.
Yes, we put his signature on all the units. It's a little tribute.
It's very neat.
Yeah. I mean, he was such a lovely guy. I mean, he only came to Superbooth not so long ago, and Melanie tells me that when he went home, he said he couldn't believe it. All these people wanted to come up to him and to talk to him and to touch him, and they all knew him, and he had no idea how well regarded and how well known he was in his lifetime by our community here.
This is something here on the Superbooth directly to see for the people who make the things that that's the reason why we do this.
Yes.
The musicians out there have here the opportunity to thank the guys who make the tools.
Yes.
And otherwise. And that's a really cool connection that you don't have in many other industries.
That's right. Yeah.
Let's say.
Yeah.
And that's I think having all the history behind it, is a really big thing about making connections. And
Yeah.
this is really cool what you do, because it's not about just this one product that's a collaboration. We talked yesterday with Faco and the other guys.
Yeah.
That's a really cool connection and collaboration. And you did it on your complete company.
Yeah. That's the idea. Yeah.
It's existing.
That's why I called. See, it's a commercial thing, but I called it Paul Whittington Group. The group idea is that it's a collective. So it's like a creative
real community.
Yeah, from
They are talking
whoever I
about
work with.
communities everywhere.
Yeah.
But this time it's really a community.
I mean, you have to think, how do you make stuff like Korg or Roland or Yamaha? I can't become that overnight. I can't hire 100 people in an R&D department and all that stuff. So I think, well, how can I do that? And it's by collaborating with people and bringing people together and just having fun and sharing ideas. The sum of the parts is always better. You know, and I always like to say, I'm not the smartest person in the room. I like to work with people who are far cleverer than me, you know, and that's how we can make excellent products. And I tell you what, it applies to everyone here. I was in the tent earlier and someone came along, they were trying the Mantis and they said, oh, you know, it would be good if it did this. And I went straight to my notebook here and wrote it down. You know, it's like anyone can throw an idea in and it might become part of the product, because why not? Creative collaborations, key. Makes better products.
That's why we do this. So, all jokes aside, when will it be available?
So we plan to ship in the summer. We're saying we hope that will be in August. That's the plan. So the hardware and everything is on schedule. Firmware is a little less known, if I'm being completely honest, but we will work hard on it and aim to ship them.
Ah, great. And how much will it cost?
Yeah,
That's a bad question, I know.
No, it's okay. We have prepared. It's 1,599 euros, including VAT. And that's the manufacturer's suggested retail price. So I can't say what it will be in stores, because that's up to stores. But that's the price we set, and then we see.
That's okay. It's a
Yeah.
big synthesizer with, it's medium big.
Medium big is right. And hopefully the price point is medium big too. It's not a 4,000 euro thing. It's affordable, I hope.
And
We want lots of people to buy it and lots of people to enjoy it and enjoy Chris's legacy and that sound, that unique sound. And, you know, so.
Did you have requests from musicians? When I asked the Prodigy, and I asked them just, what would you like? I wish to have an Oscar.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
you'll have to put me in touch with Liam then.
Yeah, that's quite a while ago.
Yeah,
I'm sure he already has one.
I have been. Yeah, I mean, I do know Paul Hartnell from Orbital. I've been to see him with it. He was quite pleased. he was very pleased to see it. So.
Because it's a so British sound. When I visited London, I was to London, and there was someone in the place who was playing a Wasp on the streets.
Cool.
I would not even expect that when I was 15. So
wow. Well, normally you go on the street to play music to busk to earn small amounts of money, but if he's got a Wasp, then he must have a lot of money.
It actually was a synthesizer, no guitars and stuff like that.
Amazing.
Just one synth playing stuff like Jean-Michel Jarre and stuff like that.
That's cool.
Which was really uncommon at that time.
Nice.
So
nice.
This is just the other side of the emotional part of this.
I can't wait to hear what people do with it, because that's the biggest joy for me. Is you make a thing and you make it how you think it ought to be, and it's all, you know, you make decisions, you talk to people, but the best bit is when you put it out there and people start to make music with it, and it's always the ways in which they use your product that you never expected. That's always what's really cool.
You told us you were working on something, but I did not really knew, or I did not have anything in mind what it might be. I could have been a desktop as well.
Yeah.
It's the form. In the form, it's still a mini key synth, which I really enjoy. Is there some planning of making a big classic sequential kind of size synth?
Quite possibly.
Yeah.
The roadmap goes that
Yeah.
I want to do analog, hybrid, and digital. Those will be the first 3 synths I'll bring to market. So it's analog last year with the Malevolent. It's hybrid this year with Mantis.
So they are growing.
So we built up
Finally.
these 3 kind of technology lanes, if you like, or groups, and then we'll see what other products we can make in each of those kind of styles. So there hopefully will be another analog to follow Malevolent, another hybrid to follow this.
And the drum machine?
Maybe a sampler.
And then why not? Why not diversify? And it somewhat depends on who we partner with. And I'm always open to people coming and talking to me about, oh, I've had this great idea. Because we've established ourselves a company that is able now to collaborate and make something. And if you're just an engineer in a garage, it's very hard to make a hardware product. You know, Ben Supper, who does keynote speeches for ADC, for the developers conference stuff, often says, you know, if you're thinking about making hardware, then don't. You know, don't even start. It is really tough. But you know,
freaking gamble sometimes.
It is. But in collaboration, we are now set up to do that kind of thing. So I welcome anyone to approach me and talk to me about an idea. And, you know, that's how these things get started. And why not?
So let's go back to the synthesizer directly. And there are some wavetables in there?
We plan to, yes. So there's the generated waves of Chris's, and then we hope to have on the knob, it has a WT at the end, and we hope to have some means of storing. We know we've got the memory, and I've got a guy who's really good at making wavetables. So we hope to put some in there just so that you can add a bit more flavor to the classic waves. These are the things that we're not changing what Chris would have wanted, but we're maybe adding a little to it.
So speaking of the OSCar oscillators, it was a mixture. It was a real reduced set of additive kind of waveforms,
right.
So to say. Is that also in the oscillator section?
Not in Mantis.
Yeah,
but it's something we are discussing. In terms.
Okay. This is one
of
the future things.
Yeah,
in the drum machine.
Maybe, who knows? Who knows? Yeah, drum machine with additive waves. That's what we'll do. Who knows?
Possibly. So you told me about the keyboard, and you're quite happy with it.
It's really nice. I mean, I'm
weighted.
Yes, semi-weighted. I'm a piano player by trade originally, so I like to think I know a good keyboard when I play one, and we've selected this one as the very best one from the manufacturer, and I think it plays great. It really does. And I know there are other manufacturers who may use this as well, who I won't name on air.
Okay,
but you'll have to come and ask me because I do know the answer to that question.
So I know we will talk soon again when it will be out.
Sure.
And it's not the last time we talk about new products with you.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Cool. I want to keep talking to you guys. I love you guys. You do a great job. I love SequencerTalk. So thank you for having me on. It's great.
Let's do this.
Really good.
Still keep the control voltage.
Keep on keeping on.
Yes. So we don't want you to burn your little...
my beautiful British body.
Yeah.
Yes, being British, I start pale blue. It takes me a week to get white, and then I start to tan after that. You know, yeah.
So thank you, Paul, for your time, and we will see you soon with some other talks. So bye-bye.
Bye for now. You happy?
Yeah, good. It's good.
Yeah, very. I enjoyed that. It's really good. Really good conversation.
Yeah.